Confidence is the most important thing, honestly. And like that only comes with time, to be honest. Like it is the thing that's making it where you're not getting a deal right now. And also it's one of those things where like you're just not going to feel confident until you've been through the ringer. You know what I mean? Once you've been through the ringer a little bit, then life gets, at least after that, now you know how to handle the situation, right?
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Contract Closers Podcast. My name is Matt Walton, here with my co-host Eva. Eva, how you doing?
Just like you, we are recovering from that flu that's going
Yeah.
around.
Yep. Yeah, we're recording this at the beginning of the year here, so we're the past 2 weeks, had a nice Christmas, and then on our deathbeds for the last 2 weeks, and then now we're getting a little bit better here now.
Good old holidays, you share a drink with your lovely family member, and they brought the cold or flu to dinner. So nice of them.
uh Yeah, I have 3 kids, so I mean they catch everything and then they spread everything. So it's just super spreaders I live with in my house. But today we're excited. We have an awesome guest today. Someone who's a part of the communities that we're a part of, both Sub2 and Astro Flipping. Also, I've seen him post so much. Not only if you follow him, you probably do. So much content out there. A lot of great content in general, just helping people to grow, to learn more about real estate investing. Jonah, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, bro. How are you?
Good. I saw recently you were on a nice trip with your mom.
Yes, I was. It was fun. I went to Argentina with my mom 2 weeks ago. Great benefits of real estate investing. You can kind of just do that, you know? And so that's a pretty cool thing about real estate investing. And it was great. It was cool. Great time. Like, had a blast. Amazing country. Highly recommend it. And yeah,
But that's so awesome
it's
to do
really
something
good.
like that with your mom, though. Just like you and your mom, just go out and just enjoy time together.
Yeah, and just having the time to do it.
hmm
I feel like a W-2, I don't know if I could have done that. So,
No, no, you couldn't have, right? Unless you used all your vacation and then you're done.
yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. So tell us a little bit about, obviously you're a real estate investor here. I want to talk about that, but I want to know about what you did before you got into real estate investing and then how you got into it.
So my journey is I was actually something completely different. I was a Peace Corps volunteer. That's what I literally did right before real estate investing. It was like college, was a Peace Corps volunteer. I basically was the official thing that I was doing was helping like businesses grow in basically the Dominican mountains. I was in the Dominican Republic, and I really just joked that I more or less because my main project was helping like this factory of women, I guess is how it translates, and that like made peanut butter. And my joke is I was basically just a peanut butter salesman for 2 years in the Dominican mountains. Um, so that's more or less what I did beforehand. Came back, always had an entrepreneurial drive of some sort. Didn't quite know what I wanted to do. I was trying some garage sale flipping. If anyone follows Gary Vee or anything like that, um, got into stocks a little bit. Didn't do much there, um, and then I went to like just a real estate meetup. It was about like long term. It was like about investing away from where you live because I grew up in San Francisco, so it was like talking about like virtual real estate investing.
hmm
And I thought it was cool, but I kept asking people, I'm like, okay, what do you do if you don't have any money though? Like, this is great buying a house, but I don't have any money. So this is an issue,
Yeah.
right?
San
Uh,
Francisco.
yeah, exactly. So I was just like, okay, how do we do this? And then the word wholesaling starts getting thrown at me, right? And I started learning about that. I'm like, okay, this is literally the perfect business for me. I I don't have to like create a product. There's no inventory, so it's really easy. I'm just flipping the contract, and it's all based on my ability to relate to another human. So I knew I'd crush that business. I just knew I could do it. And I was also listening to these podcasts of like 18-year-olds making 100 grand a month. They're craziness, and I'm like, okay, enough. If they can do it, I can do it. There are too many people doing this, right? I'm not starting Facebook.
Yeah.
Um, so that's really where the journey starts. Start doing it, get into join astro flipping, which I think you were mentioning earlier. Um, that was really a good community to join for learning how to wholesale because I just didn't know anything about it. And yeah, just having a really good course, having Jamil there as like a mentor who could just you could ask any question to twice a week. Um, it's pretty amazing. And yeah, basically after that, just been growing a wholesaling business. Since then, I do flips now too. I do like a couple flips a year, more for content, honestly, than like actually trying to make an insane amount of money. I don't like flipping nearly as much as wholesaling. It's not my thing as much. Do a bunch of other stuff. I have Simple Send, which is my CRM. It's like an agent outreach CRM specifically. How I get deals is all through direct to agent, very Keegly, astro flipping way. And so I decided to create a CRM that's based off that. And then also, like I was telling you guys before we got on, I'm now starting a company where we create AI agents that will completely replace a virtual assistant. We have like 5 different bots, and it's like a month old, but we got our first client, and that's been like the coolest creative thing. But that's like a little intro into me, where I came from, and all I do.
That's awesome. And we're gonna get to the AI stuff, but I really want to know what's your pitch on peanut butter? How you sell it?
What's even funnier than that? It was some NGO that started this because it was like the worst business model ever, because no Dominicans don't eat peanut butter. That's not a thing they like at all. So the pitch really was just like, okay, we need to get like who eats peanut butter, and then they just started listing people who don't eat peanut butter. I'm like, no, it's the gringos. Gringos eat peanut butter, so we need to get this to the capital and find some stores that'll buy it. And that was the strategy. So that actually worked a lot better than, trying to sell peanut butter to a bunch of people who don't want it.
Wow. They just don't like it. It's just not in
It's
there.
just not a thing. It's just not in their diet. It's not
Yeah.
like I don't know. Like it's like I don't know what the equivalent of that would be. Because America has like every single type of food, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It would just be like giving like, do you guys ever eat an Ethiopian food? You guys
Uh-uh.
know they have like this spongy bread.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know you're talking
Like
about.
I've
I
seen
don't
it.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
I
grab it
don't
off
know
it.
if I just sold you that spongy bread, I don't know what you guys would do with it. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't really fit into the dish, I guess. And the dish is already there.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're not gonna put peanut butter on rice and beans and stuff like that. Yeah.
We could. Yeah.
You can try.
Good. Nobody come out to eat
Might
with
be
you.
good.
You'd be eating by yourself.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, that's awesome story. I mean, that's cool that that wholesaling is that it's that thing that can get you started and get your foot into the door for real estate, because most people don't have money to buy real estate. And also, I think that what it helps out too is like you got to learn how to find good deals. So I think was one of the hardest things to
Yep.
do in real estate. So people want to be flippers, sure. Can you find a good deal that you can make money off of? I think that's really the hardest thing is to consistently find good deals in that come through and know how to evaluate those deals and make sure they make sense for you to make money off of. I've done one flip too, and Jonah, I'm like you. I'm like, I could have wholesaled that for the same amount of money I made or more. Like that took me an hour to do.
Yep.
It was just something that we just got under our belt because we're like, we'll just go ahead and do it. And so, do you own any properties also?
Yeah, I have a couple rentals too. Throw
Sub
that
two,
into the
creative.
yeah. I own two law. I've done a couple sub two deals. They were like assignments or like wraps or whatever. I own two that I actually own two, right? But I'm also not even that big of a fan of owning single family rentals. I think it only makes sense if you start getting into multifamily. Maybe. I haven't even owned any multifamily, but single families are a money trap after a while.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I own one, and I don't want to own it anymore. I'd rather no. We're immediately going into big stuff. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go multifamily. If I'm gonna do this,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go big. I'm not gonna do these 100,000 little tiny single family homes that pay me a couple $100 each. I'm gonna go actually
Yeah.
go for it. So yeah, I think though, but wholesaling is obviously the gateway into everything. It allows you to understand stuff. I mean, you can be a full-time wholesaler if you want to, always. That won't ever have to stop. But you can always take that and branch out to more different things. And so I want to take it to this because I just saw a post with Jerry Norton. He talked about the regulation that came in Ohio now, where you have to fully disclose that you're wholesaling. You have to make sure it's like on in a separate addendum, basically, to the contract that states you're wholesaling, what your intents are, blah blah blah. And if you don't do that, you basically give the seller a right to back out at any point in time on the contract. And then you also are subject to fines of $2,500 or disciplinary action, whatever it is after that.
You also
Virginia,
owe the EMD.
what was that?
You also owe the EMD.
Yes,
Even if you
CMD.
didn't put it in, it doesn't matter. You owe it to the. You have to give it to them within 30 days.
Right. So you have that. I mean, Virginia, where I'm at, we have to have a license, a real estate license. It's coming more and more. And so, what are your thoughts on regulations? How you're navigating it, things like that.
I think it's a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily. Like honestly, I do basically the equivalent of that anyways. Maybe not quite to that degree of like I'm 100% wholesaling this, but I always put in an assignment clause, right? I really don't like it when wholesalers don't like say like, "Hey, at the very least, I that is one exit strategy I'm exploring," right? I think it's really bad if you don't say that. So I really like that. I think the real estate agent thing is kind of dumb. That's a dumb regulation because it's okay. What did you learn from becoming a real estate agent? Absolutely nothing,
Yeah. How many
right?
feet are in an acre?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just dumb. And like it's just silly. Like I don't know. That's kind of stupid. But the what Ohio's doing, for instance, I actually like that. I think that should be happening. Because like, what are you hiding? You should be able to explain the value of what you're doing, right? To a seller, to a real estate agent, to anybody. It shouldn't be complicated. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
All right. Give us a breakdown. You're showing the value to somebody.
So, I mean, just like, what is it? Like, think about it this way. As a wholesaler, what's your value to the marketplace? Well, it's kind of the same value as a flipper, right? That's the value to the seller, right? But on top of that, you're incredibly good at aggregating it, right? So let me explain what I mean by that. A flipper, someone who does rehabs, also doesn't usually have the time to negotiate with you, Mr. Seller, find you, like be able to help you out, right? Like normally, if there were no wholesalers, there'd be maybe one flipping company who'd be able to like actually spend the marketing and do that, maybe like a couple, and then you're going to actually get a worse price because it's just like it would become more monopolistic, right? That's part of the value just overall in general. Now, explaining it to a seller or explaining it to an agent, that's all what you would do there is just basically be like, yeah, like honestly, what I do a lot of the times is I will just assign the contract. What that means is instead of me buying it, I'm just going to sell it to my friend, right? I think that conversation is super easy with the seller. Seller, I just be like, do you care if I do that? And the seller almost never cares as long as they still get their price, right? Real estate agents, there's this weird tension between wholesalers and real estate agents. I think it's dumb, right? And you can just explain it to them and just be like, look, yeah, that is something I do a lot. I wholesale a lot, right? I also flip and do buy and holds, right? That's true for me. But what I used to say, even when that wasn't true for me, for the people who are listening who don't do those things, is yeah, like me and my partners flip and wholesale and buy and hold, which is true. Your buyers are your partners, right? In the end, they're JV partners at the very least, right? Um, so that's like what I would say, and I don't feel like that's a bad thing at all. And then you just put it in the contract to make sure the seller knows like this is an assignable contract, right? What a lot of wholesalers do, which I hate, is, and I think that's what's really causing all the problems, is they just don't put in an assignment clause for some reason because they're worried they're not going to get the deal, and then they're later going to put it in, and that's just a terrible strategy. It's the equivalent of being like, I'll just bid higher and then knock them down. It's just like not a good way of doing business, honestly. Like you should just stick to whatever you put in the contract.
Yeah.
That's the agreement, right? Don't break it. You're essentially breaking your word when you're not following a contract, right? There's going to be times where it's out of your control, obviously, where you need something in order to make a deal happen, but you want to avoid that as much as possible.
Yeah. I mean, you have the right to double close if you can to do that at that case. And sometimes we have the agents that like freak out about not assigning because they've heard or they saw a post on Facebook about how one deal went terrible with one other agent with this other wholesaler that didn't do it right. And so now wholesalers, they can't, they freak everybody out about wholesalers because they don't want any assignments. They think it's going to go terrible. They don't want to, whatever the case is inside their head, they just think it's going to go wrong. And so they do have that where you have those. And I don't think it's a problem. Sometimes we take those deals, we're like, sure, we want to sign it. Like we have the ability to double close if we need to. But Sometimes right before, like at the end of our inspection period, if we've already assigned it or ready to assign it to somebody, I'll just tell the agent, hey, by the way, this didn't work out for us anymore, but I have somebody who can take this, follow the contract, and do it all exactly how we have stated. Do you mind if if the seller can agree to it, just sign this addendum that says we can assign it to them? Most of the time, they're like, sure, cool.
Yeah.
I just want to disclose them, or again, if they're like, no, absolutely not, then I'm just going to double close it and it'll be okay. I still followed the contract. One of the things you said, I think that, obviously being able to pitch, if you're new to this and you don't do flips, you don't buy and hold and stuff, one of the good things to say is, I work for acquisitions for a bunch of buyers in my area. I know what they're looking for. I
Yeah, I
know
like
how
that.
they buy. I'm going to find deals for them. And so this is what I'm trying to put an offer on because I see this house that you have right here. Is it good for my buyers? Like, I'll go ahead and get it done. You can do that, and most of the time they get it's a little more credibility onto that also.
Yeah,
So,
I like that a lot. The more honest you can be, the better, in my opinion. It just saves times. The dispositions is way better too. Like it makes it just so much easier instead of doing like, oh, these are my contractors or whatever the hell people learn online. You can be like, no, these are buyers. These
yep,
are assignees.
yep. Yeah, we started to do that more and more. At first, when you start, you're scared of everything. You're scared about,
Of course.
losing out on that one
It's not like
deal.
I've of course done it as well. It's not like I'm
Yeah.
sinless, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
telling you just from like the lessons I've learned.
Yeah, it just happens. I mean, you go through it and you're scared like you're going to say no or get rejected and you can't get the deal and get the money in. But when you start to grow and you start to do more deals, like you're okay. Like if I'll work this out. I'll figure out a way to make it happen, one way or another. Excuse
Yeah,
me.
I think to Jonah's point earlier about being honest up front about what you're doing is a key thing that is going to help with regulation. Like that regulation does need to come in so that people are more honest about that because a lot of these agents too, they might have read the Facebook post like you said, but also they got under contract 3 4 times with wholesalers that wanted the contract assignable and never followed through on what they were supposed to do. So then you'll get agents who have been on market 120 days and then they're upset because you're like, can I get it? Can you make it assignable? And they're like, oh, no, no, we've already been through this 4 times. They never followed through, blah, blah, blah. So that's another reason they get so upset when you want to do that sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things you said about as well as about what the value that we bring as wholesalers when you bring these deals in is the flippers. Yeah, they might reach out to one that pops up on the MLS and they might maybe throw out an offer. But that's the last time they're going to talk to that person if they get told no because they're on to whatever else they're doing. But as wholesalers, the way we win and the way we get contracts done is because we're the ones that follow up consistently and we're the one that keeps things moving. And so they might have offered on that deal a month, 2 months back and got told no, but we are the ones that got it under contract at a lower price than what they offered because we stay consistent on that. And I think that's important for people to understand is that if you're going to be a wholesaler and provide value, that's the way you do it. Is continue to be the one that hunts those deals down over and over and over again because that's where you get most of the deals from in the first place is through that follow up.
Yeah.
Jonah, do you do most of your deals on market or off market?
It's like 70% off market and like 30% on market, I'd probably say. But it's all agents. That's the thing. So like I just am really good, like you were talking about, what really makes it wholesaler successful is follow up, right? I'm just really good at the follow up. And so there are just agents in my database who've been there for 5 years now who I could probably turn off the follow up at this point and probably make like 40, 50 grand a year just from that. Um, so, but yeah, like
And you
I'd
do
say
the
probably
blanket
like 70.
approach to like reach out to every agent in your market.
I like that more. Like I get it, like doing on markets can get you a deal quicker, but the long game is actually just doing the off markets, in my opinion, right? Because those are always better deals, honestly, and it's your buyers like it more.
Right. Yeah, it's funny because that's my approach as well. But Eva's is the opposite of what she teaches, where she finds the deals that are actually happening on the MLS and then
Yeah,
reaches
we
out to
go
those. And
straight
then,
for the listed properties with
yeah.
the agents, but what I do is similar to what you guys are doing, but I start the conversation with starting with that listed property. Then we roll into the follow up of okay, either follow up on that specific property consistently to try to get that property if it drops or whatever happens. But if that never becomes a deal that we do together, to keep following up with them to find a different deal to do together, whether it be on or off market.
Yeah, and I guess your thought process on that is that most agents don't have any deals, like don't do any deals every year.
Well, it's
So
also, I mean, I do like what I'm just trying to hit up everybody. I
right,
just want the entire market in my database, right? So, like, it's not just that, it's also like I'm actually also doing what Eva does, but I'm not just hitting up fixers, I'm hitting up beautiful homes. Because like it is a good way to start a conversation, but we'll just hit up beautiful homes and be like, "Oh, sorry, like I must have been a mistake. This isn't really what we want, but my name's blah blah blah," and then do the intro, right?
right, right,
Um, because it's, every agent, if they're actually working hard, will at some point come across a fixer.
exactly.
It's almost guaranteed. If they're like actually doing the job, they're gonna get something at some point, right?
Yeah,
The question is are they gonna sell it to you? Well, did you follow up with them, right? That's the only difference. It's very funny too, like because like what the issue is there's these automatic follow-up systems, and I sell one of those systems, right? But what happens is wholesalers will do that follow-up system, and then finally when they have something, they don't call them. It's very funny. I literally hear it. I hear it from the agents.
Guys.
I hear it from the agents. They're like, "Wow, you actually called me." I'm like, "Yeah. What are the other people doing? Spending money on text messaging and
yeah,
hoping? Yeah, like I don't get it, but."
yeah. I have to drill that into my people's head too. Like call about the property. Like I understand texting's easier, but call it, build a connection, and actually get the information on it.
You
It's
need to be calling because that's also building rapport at the same time,
right.
right?
You're not just a faceless text that comes through, who don't know who you are, what you're doing, if you're scamming, whatever you are. You're actual person now that you called them and had a conversation. Yeah. Yeah, the blanket approach is great. I love it because you never know, like you said, like it could be this agent who hadn't done a deal all year and it's November and their cousin's uncle has a terrible house that reached out to them and says, I'm trying to sell it. And then they come to us immediately. And so
Yeah,
that's how we get a bunch of deals done with people I've never talked to before, or just had them in a follow up that happen to come across something.
yeah, and it usually takes a lot of touches too to
Yeah.
do follow ups.
Right.
It does. It's seven points of contact is what I think the statistic is. But to a point that you said earlier, where you talk to some agents who have like really nice properties. I've had agents like that before come to me and bring me a property that they didn't want to list, and I honestly think it's just an ego problem with them. But like it doesn't fit what they have built their brand around or their what they see their image as, and they go, well, this house is too bad, I can't list something like that, I could never sell something like that. So then they'll reach out to me and go like, there's this property that this guy wants sold, but I'm just not going to touch it. It's not something that I'm going to list on the market. And so then I'm like, okay, well, that kind of sounds like an ego thing, but tell me more.
Yeah.
Oh, tell me more. What do you? Let's not list it on the
Yeah.
market.
Perfect. Yeah, we've been
Yeah,
dealing with that problem a lot lately. I have to kind of train my team on this too. They a lot of times like we'll get it under contract off market, and the agent will list it at our price that we got under contract for
yeah,
right
that's really
after.
annoying when they do that.
Yeah, yeah.
It
That
just happened to
happened.
us a second ago. It killed our deal entirely. And so I'm like, you have to have that conversation now. Like now I have to drill my into my people. Like, hey, whenever you're getting an off market contract, like, ask them, is the plan to put this on the market? How can we make sure you don't do it on the market? Or if there's no way around this, can we put it like 30, 40 grand above whatever I got under contract for? Or something, just to kind of give us a little bit of room on there because you throw it up there in the market, and it's funny because every single one of the offers that came in for our property now was just 1,000 or 2,000 below what it's on the market for.
My line for that, because this is like in retrospect, if they like tell, like if they already put it on, then it is what it is. But like in retrospect, somebody says like sometimes they'll just mention it to you, like, "Yep, we'll get into contract. We have to put it on the market because of X, Y, and Z." What I'll say to the person is like, and this is true for some lenders, right? I have lenders that don't care, but like this is true for some lenders where it's like, hey, like if you do that, you're gonna make it harder for me to raise private money because now it looks like I'm just buying something that's on the MLS. It looks like more of a deal if it's not put on the MLS. Can we not do that?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Um, so that's
Yeah.
my line.
We learned
I
that
once
from
had a buyer tell me that, so I was like, all right, we're using it.
Jamil told us that about. He said to tell him it screws you over on your appraisal.
Right.
You end up having to come up with more money on a down payment because your house looks less valued compared to that. And so that's what we have to tell them too. But yeah, they throw it on that market, and then yeah, that just destroys whatever deal you had in place. Thanks for letting everybody know what happened on the contract for. So what are some things that you see consistently though when you're doing deals with agents that you have to work through, that you have problems with, stuff that you see rapidly that people when they're working with agents have to figure out how to overcome?
Um, I think it's always confidence. Confidence is the
Yeah.
most important thing,
Yeah.
honestly, and like that only comes with time.
Right.
To be honest, like it is the thing that's making it where you're not getting a deal right now.
Right.
And also, it's one of those things where like you're just not going to feel confident until you've been through the ringer. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Once you've been through the ringer a little bit, then life gets, at least after that, now you know how to handle the situation, right?
Right.
Um, that's really it. Like, if do it so much that it's boring, and then it'll be really easy to make
Mm-hmm.
money, right?
Right.
That's like it's the same thing with anything, but like especially with agents, it's just like make 10,000 calls, and I promise you, you will not even feel a tinge of nervousness calling another agent. It won't mean anything anymore. Volume will negate all of that.
Yeah, because you've gone through it. You've had the questions. You've stumbled through the questions a couple times, and you understand how to come back to those questions and handle those and get past them. But yeah, what I think you nailed it is confidence. That's what people struggle the most, is why they're not getting deals or why they're not getting their offer accepted, because the agent doesn't believe that you can get it done. Doesn't believe that you're serious about what you're saying because you don't sound confident when you say it. And then they're going to drill you on, like, your proof of funds. They're going to drill you on who you are and how many properties you've bought. And they're going to start drilling you on those things because they don't believe you're real. You're serious.
Yeah. And
So
also,
that's,
like, something to add on to that as well, because I think it was really interesting. One of my sales guys asked me this, and he's like, Jonah, why do all of your deals seem like they have no problems? Like, it doesn't seem like you're having them, like, give you objections or anything. And I'm like, you want to know why? It's because I'm, like, leading this conversation the way where they're just not even going to object to it. I just sound like this is money. I make money ring in their ears subconsciously. And then that's the skill, right? Like, because like I don't think nobody gives me objections anymore. It's very rare. It's
right.
super rare. Like
Yeah.
I get very few objections, and if I do, then I give the right response. But it usually people are just like, oh, sick. We're about to make a ton of money.
Yeah.
That's just the vibe I give off when I'm talking to an agent. They're like, okay, this guy's gonna get me money. I need to just get this contract signed. You
Exactly.
know?
Yeah. And if you can get that, if you have that confidence, you can tell that, get that agent to be on your side, you're going to get the deal done. Because they're going to go to that seller and they're going to start saying, like, all right, this is a serious offer. This guy's really serious. We can get it done. We can finally be done with this property that he's been sitting on the market for X amount of days. I think we should take this offer. Versus if you sound like crap and you don't sound confident, then they go to the person like, well, we got this offer, and I don't know, how serious this person is, and I got to make sure their credentials all
Right.
match up. Like, it's wait. The seller's gonna be like, no, I don't want to deal with that. So yeah, absolutely. So what does your team look like right now? You have
Um, my my team looks like, so here's my team. It's two acquisition managers, one for hire dispo manager, so it's not like a full time member, but like I just have him like everyone throw it in whenever there is a dispo. Um, and then two transaction coordinators that are both contractors, and then um, a handful of VAs, right? Right now we're about to replace
I say that you're about to
two of
replace it too.
them.
Yeah.
Well, we're about to place two of them with AI, right? Because and we'll get to that part of it. But
Yeah.
um, we, but yeah. So like I said, it's I think it's four VAs, two acts, one dispo, two TCs, and then
How many
me.
markets?
Just one, just San Francisco Bay Area and Sacramento.
Wow.
It's a huge, I mean, it's a big place. There's a lot of people there, right? Like that people also got to remember population matters. Like the Bay Area, I think it's like 12 million people, something
Hmm.
like that. Like
Yeah.
I live in Denver, there's 2 million people here. So it's the size of six of them,
Yeah.
right? So there's not really a need for me to go to another market. There are enough deals and enough houses to stay there for a while, honestly. And uh, I've done other markets. Like I kind of do Denver. Like if someone sends me a Denver deal, I have some buyers. But like last year and this year, it's like been 95, 96% California, San Francisco Bay Area, Sacramento.
Okay. What's your advice to somebody who's maybe getting a deal or so a month? Who's starting to trying to see some traction a little bit. What is your advice to somebody who wants to scale it into actually doing consistently multiple deals a month, multiple six figures a month, things like that?
Well, it's not going to happen uh, until you start hiring people, just to be honest. Like, you're going to get to a deal or two a month by yourself, right? Because it's impossible to keep the acquisitions pipeline going along with doing dispositions, right? Along with doing the TC work, along with doing all the lead generation. It's just not going to work. So, like, I mean, my advice is get to, if you're at that stage where you're doing a deal a month, but you're like not spending any money on anybody, hire somebody. It's time, right? You have a profitable business, hire a VA or get AI to be a VA, right? Whatever you do, like you just need to now um, start doing that more or less. And like take some of the money you're making and set it aside for OPEX and spend some money.
Right. What's the first hire you think you should make?
I think, at least for me, I think everyone should hire a lead generator, right? Well, okay, maybe an executive assistant probably is is first. That's what I hired first. But that executive assistant is kind of just going to do everything. They're just going to do everything you don't want to do. And
Hmm.
then you're going to eventually, like, okay, let's actually hire specific people. You hire some sort of lead generator, someone who's in charge of getting it to the point where you're on the phone with an agent. Or, anyways, executive assistant and lead generator, probably executive assistant, lead generator, and then after that would be like a buyer finder, right? Which is someone who finds buyers for you all day. Those are like the first three, and then after that, you'd probably be ready for a salesperson.
Right. Yeah, you don't need a dispo for a while. I think a lot of people make the mistake of hiring a dispo person very quickly.
Yeah,
And it's like you're bored.
you need like 5 to 6 deals a month to really like have a dispo person be able to make a salary.
Right. And if you find that buyer finder and you make a good make them good if they're good enough, just have them upgrade into actually sending the deals right after you start to get to that point. But my first hire in general was somebody to take over my CRM because I was having a ton of text
Mm.
messages, handling a bunch of like who are you, what are you looking for, what's your buy box, and I wanted to focus on the deals, and so that was my first hire was a VA rep to take care of my CRM on all those follow ups. Then second came acquisitions to help with acquisitions as we ran through, and that's kind of how I grew from that point. What was your first hire, Eva? You're
I
thinking
was
about it.
thinking about that because I've had so many stages in my business. It's like when I first started, it was just me. Well, it was me and my ex. Then it was me and Sochi, and
Hmm.
we were basically doing the same job. So we were both doing acquisitions, finding deals together. Then she was picking up, like we were just kind of doing everything. But we were JVing, so we weren't doing dispo, but we were doing like finding the deals, running TC, negotiating, and we would just kind of team tag everything like that. Then then is when I started hiring my VAs, and my VAs. I think I hired three VAs to start. I like went big or go home, and it was the wrong choice.
And you went
Yeah,
home. Yeah, exactly.
I got three VAs that had no prior training. I had to train them from scratch to do acquisitions. Then I kind of hopped them around to see what fit better. It was a lot of learning.
Yeah, hiring VAs right off the bat to do acquisitions is tough. Right now, I've been scaling with VAs, hired as acquisition people because I've really focused on who I'm going to bring on. Like, it's a very strict process before you get a chance to be on there. It just helped me out, and so the people who join my team, they've gone through. I know that they're good. Like, I know that they're actually capable of what they're doing, and we pay them well to make sure that they obviously are incentivized to do better. But yeah, I think that what that's something a lot of people make mistakes on too is hiring VAs for acquisitions when you don't maybe know how to properly train them to one or really know how to vet a really good VA to do that because they could shut your business down if they're not good at that.
That
And
was my
also just
problem. I didn't know
having
how to vet
SOPs.
people.
SOPs,
Yeah,
yes.
I had no SOPs in the beginning. I learned all that shit probably for a good year, a year plus. I had to figure all that out. Hired and fired a bunch of people. Finally got some VAs that have been working with me for a long time now that do my acquisitions. And then I'll do dispositions or we JV a lot. But I don't really have anyone who does my buyers. I typically just like, buyers are mine. You find deals. And then our AI negotiates all our deals, so they just micromanage the conversations.
Hmm.
Um, So it's like that's kind of how it is now. I've got 2 VAs who do acquisitions, but they also basically do TC. I don't hire TCs. And then I pick up any slack on the TC. And then if we need help with that, I pick up any slack when it comes to maybe putting out a fire with an agent that they can't put out, and then buyers.
That's awesome. So that's a good segue over into AI then. So Jonah, tell us about your AI, what company that you got going on. How does it integrate? What do you take away off of people's plates?
Yeah, so it replaces a VA, right? So like it's very new, really cool, but basically like those jobs that I told you about that you should hire for, like executive assistant, we don't have yet because that's a much more like not doing the same thing every single day role. But like the ones like lead generator, it's scrape list, upload to CRM, start campaign, respond, set up appointment, right? That an AI can do now. AI is definitely capable of doing that entire job, right? So we've created like a lead generator bot that's for agents and for sellers, right? I have a bot that finds buyers all day. They'll vet the buyers for you. They'll get it all the way to the point where you have either a call with them or you don't, but they're just on your buyers list and you have all their criteria depending on what you're like, how you like doing dispo. There's an underwriter bot, right? One that basically comps and then does however you want it to be, like whatever buy price formula you use, it'll follow it. And those are the 4 main ones right now, right? Because I think those are the 4 virtual assistants that any wholesaler even needs. Wholesaler / flipper. I don't really like, there are other VAs you could use, right? But those are not super necessary for a wholesaling or flipping business or someone who needs an acquisitions business, right? Those are the key ones that, in my opinion, someone needs. And so, yeah, we can just replace them, right? So like right now, like basically what I'm doing is just going to people and going to either people who have VAs and are like, okay, I'm spending too much money, right? And it's really annoying because they leave. Obviously you have to give them bonuses and pay raises and all of that stuff. They're humans, right? You have to deal with emotions, while you don't have to deal with any of that with AI. That can do this basic stuff. So it's people who have VAs and are just like, hey, I'd rather pay less because I'm actually selling the bot for right now for less than what a VA would cost. And B, what would it's also for people who are just starting out as well, in the sense like, hey, do you feel like you're ready to hire a VA? Instead of all that, going through what Eva went through, right, where she hired 3 VAs, had no idea how to train them, how to do any of that, and they just didn't do the job right. Why not just hire me for a fraction of the cost and I make sure they actually do what you want?
Right. Yeah. What do you want to do? And so I think a lot of people have that issue too. I ran a VA company for a little while. We kind of shut it down where we just do recruiting now. For people, if you like, hey, I want a VA that has a skill set. Like I have a team of people who would just go and find somebody like that and then fit you in. But the whole management of them and the whole constantly this
Nightmare.
is too much. It's a lot. Because they'll be great for a week, and then next thing you know, their mother died in 5 countries over, and they have to go to it. And unfortunately, a lot of times it's hard to even believe that that's true because it happens all the time. So much it's insane. And so things like that happen over and over again. And so I hear about that. A lot of people who come to us and ask for VAs, that they've always tried to hire VAs. They've gone to onlinejobs.ph or whatever you're going to go to find somebody, and it's the same issue over and over again. You find somebody, they seem great, you train them, they seem great, you get started, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
And then you have to go right back over to do it over and over again. And it's a pain. And so I feel bad because a lot of these countries like the Philippines and places like that, I mean, they're going to be screwed. Unfortunately, when AI really, really blows up, which it is now, it's just the fact that, you don't get sick days, you don't get doctor's appointments, you don't have to go out anywhere or do anything. It's just AI is there all day long, every day. Do you think it's to the point where you can replace, do you think AI is to the point where it can do full acquisitions for you?
I don't think so. I don't think it could close a deal. It could get it close probably, and maybe it could close 1 or 2, but it is still worth the ROI to train a human acquisitions manager who's closing deals, in my opinion. I just don't think it's quite there yet. And also just people are on the outlook for AI, right? And I think more people on the phone can tell when they're talking to AI. While like via text message, there's no way to tell whether if you're talking to AI that's trained well, it's impossible. We set our first client, we set it up, and the one of the agents was like, "Oh my God, I love your assistant Claire. She seems so nice. Like you should give her a raise." And then they told us like that's actually AI, and the agent was flabbergasted, right? So just because like you could try, but I think it wouldn't be worth it. I think it would take more time and possibly not work out, while doing it for these basic tasks, right? Incredibly hard to set up, like very, very hard to do. If you want to take the time to learn it all, you can, or you can hire a company like mine and we just do it for you. But it'll work a lot better on those basic and honestly most people need that first, right? So the basic functions of a real estate business, AI can 100% handle them.
Yeah, I've heard a few of them, and we were looking into building one too at some point. But it's where like you actually have the voice call that can at least handle stuff to the point where they just sets appointments for you. I think it can potentially work where you're getting inbound leads. Where like the AI calls them back to set an appointment on that. I think like there's a little bit of a conversation potentially, like maybe they can understand like, hey, this is a call to set the appointment with somebody. That could work a little better. But when it comes to like doing outbound outreach, and especially the agents, I just don't think we're near it with agents, because agents is a long-term relationship you need to build and have a conversation over and over again and know that they trust and know you. I think they're going to pick up right away that's AI, and then they're going to be turned off if you try and work with agents on that. But sellers, maybe direct to seller, where they're inbound calls, I think certain ones, like I've heard Steve Trang's that he has. It's called like a objection proof AI or something like that. It sounds pretty good. Can have the conversations on the phone to at least get the information and get your appointment set for you to tee up to close.
Yeah, I think it can do appointment setting.
Yeah.
It is really good at getting it all the way to the point of appointment setting. Past that, actually the hard part of closing the deal, that still needs humans, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Eva has a nice AI with her solution to her whole tech CRM that she has, which basically texts the agent that you throw the information into the CRM as far as the property, your ARV, what your negotiation parameters are, and it'll text them and have conversations over text to try and get the deal closed.
Well, he actually negotiates the whole deal, and we've been testing out voice AI, and we've had maybe a 30% positive review on voice AI. It's why we haven't launched it publicly yet, but he negotiates and closes those deals as well over voice.
Nice.
How receptive are the agents? Some agents don't realize it's AI, and they continue the conversation and they negotiate the whole deal with them. We've probably had maybe 3 or 4 of them actually get to the contract stage where they send us a contract over voice. The voice one isn't crazy successful, so we're not super big on it. But I do 5 contracts a month, and it's all my AI negotiator over text.
That's cool.
So he negotiates all our deals. We set up the parameters of like, you're allowed to negotiate between this number and this number, use your notes and the other information that the agent gives you that you put in the notes about the property to help you gauge on where you should be between that parameter. So he goes back and forth and negotiates with the agents all day on text, and
that's cool.
Works out amazing for us. Voice, there is an AI system out there right now called Sesame AI. It's kind of hard to get on their API list, but if you can, I think that they would probably be the most successful one to give you a good enough voice to negotiate deals and things like that over the phone with an agent.
I mean, I think it's impressive that you're closing a bunch of deals via text, let alone A, that it's an AI, and B, that you're like even with humans, just closing a deal via text is kind of hard.
Yeah.
Kudos there.
Yeah.
So we start the conversation instantly with an offer. Like, we are not really building rapport is important, but we put building rapport as a secondary, not a first. And we're going straight after those listing properties, giving them a number, telling them why it's our number, and then consistently following up. We're annoying when we follow up. We're like every 5 to 7 days.
Yeah. Yeah. Blow them up to like, fine, just take it.
Yeah,
I
they
like
get
it.
annoyed with us, but I'm just like, look at anything happens, you could fall out of contract tomorrow. I don't want to miss it.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's insane the capabilities of AI and what we can do now. Yeah, people talk about it all the time, and they're like, "Oh, AI is coming." Like, no, AI is
It's
here.
here.
Oh, it's here.
It's been here. It's the worst it's ever going to be today. And so it's just getting better and better. And so, it's interesting to see how it turns and how it will turn, especially in the real estate industry, because I think that there's a lot of industries that just aren't open to it yet, but they have to be. Like the automotive industry is one we talk about. One of my partners who used to be a partner with, Matt, he's very much into the automotive industry. And they're just very old school still. They're like, you got to have that sales rep that's on the phone, that's closing deals and stuff like that. And they're really against it as far as AI, and it's just a slower process. But real estate, I've seen that people who are in this, they're so open to it. They're like, I'll find anything that's going to take care of me having a cold call, take it off my back.
Well, wholesalers are open to it. I still think we got a long way to go with flippers and buy and hold types of people,
Agents.
because
I agree.
we're
You're kind of
also
still.
yeah, we're also the more techie part of real estate, right? Because like create a really good wholesaling business, really what you're doing is creating a marketing system, right? That's able to do follow-ups, that's able to do everything, right? It's how good of a system can you create, a sales system can you create? And that is A, just more techie, and B, much more usable to AI. Because a flipper, they just got like 5 wholesalers sending them deals, and it's kind of hard when it's not like their AI is going to help them swing a hammer yet. So
Yeah.
it's just different.
Right. Yeah, or they get or that somebody came into him. Like my dad will flip one every once in a while. He likes to do all the work himself, which is insane. But he likes to just go in there and that's his thing. And so he gets deals sometimes because the neighbors down the street or something like that saw that he's flipping, or they talked to him, or they connected him with them. I think that's probably how a lot of flippers will get those, besides wholesalers that are out there finding them. Because I don't know many flippers that have a whole system in place that are really getting things going. It's very rare.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
super rare.
Yeah. Cool, man. So what's next here? You're trying to grow the AI business. You're trying to get that going and stuff. You're obviously got your wholesale company rolling. What's next for Jonah?
It's mainly everything. Most of my focus is on the AI. I mean, the wholesaling business, it's just more like fine. I have one new closer, so getting her ready to go, and then I'm gonna hire maybe one more, and then full-time dispo, and then that'll be done. I don't have any grand ambitions for wholesaling. I think wholesaling gets capped for most people, honestly. I don't think for me, more than 100 grand, maybe 150 grand a month consistently is like the cap of my wholesaling, where it's like, okay, that's solid. That'll pay the bills, right? 150 grand, even in revenue, I don't know, 40, 50 grand to me every single month. That's just there. And then the AI is like, I don't know. It excites me more. It's more intriguing to me what we could do with that. And I think it has the potential to actually grow way bigger than wholesaling. Wholesaling is more just pay my bills, and I'm just too good at it. I've done it too long, honestly.
Yeah.
So
You feel how I feel. I've been at 5 years now, and I'm like, I'm bored. Like, I'm ready for the next thing. Like, where are we? And I agree. AI has because there's so many people right now building AI companies and then selling them for hundreds of millions of dollars. I can't build.
right.
I don't know. I haven't heard of anyone who's sold their wholesale company for hundreds of millions. I don't even think Jamil sold Keekley for hundreds of millions.
I don't think very few people have even sold their wholesaling business in general.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know I think Eric Klein talked about he did it, and I think it was only 5 to 8 million, something like that.
Yeah.
I think only.
I can't imagine it's too much. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Because
yeah,
it is very much like selling a marketing agency.
right. Yeah, AI, I think that you're obviously at the beginning of the boom of things where you can really get in and create something great, and then you can exit it pretty quickly. Once it's built
That's
up.
the goal. But yeah, that's my entire focus right now. You're gonna see my social media is gonna be way more geared to AI, right? I'm gonna be teaching things like we build out the underwriter bot, but the comping bot, I think everyone should. That you could do that with ChatGPT. That's a ChatGPT bot that anybody could build, right? Like I'm gonna release a YouTube video on here's how to build a comping bot for yourself, right? That one is not that hard, right? The other
How
bots are
accurate
really
do you
hard.
find it to be, the comping bot?
Pretty damn accurate, especially over time, right? As it gets better, right? Because as you give it more data, it starts getting even more and more and more, right? Like it's the same thing. It's the same thing as anything with AI. You give it a certain set of rules, it follows the rules, right? Yeah. So it's been within 10 to 15 grand of what I'd peg ARV at most of the time.
Awesome. That's good.
Yeah.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Maybe just look over it and just know where you're at, and then
like I'll like quickly check just in case. Like what I usually do is make sure the comps it chose aren't stupid comps, right? Like that's the biggest thing. As long as they didn't choose stupid comps, and like the main thing is for it to really like, hey, really identify and really look for if it's across from commercial or whatever, right? Because those are the things that will trip it up. It will not get tripped up by square footage or year build or any of that type of stuff.
awesome. Excuse me. Awesome. Well, yeah, that's great. I know we kind of have a little bit of a crazy podcast here going in between.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think that we got a lot of good stuff out of this, and I think that anybody who's listening can learn from you and what you're doing and what you're growing. Obviously, follow him on YouTube and follow him on Instagram and places like that, because the amount of great content you're putting out there as far as helping people throughout their business, what they're doing is something I watch. So I'm excited to anybody else that can watch that too. Is there anything you want to say before we roll out?
The last thing is I appreciate you guys for your patience with just me this morning, and also this fire alarm that randomly goes off in the middle of the
It was
podcast.
iconic.
Yeah, it was like it was kind of, yeah, it was emblematic of the morning. So I appreciate your guys' patience and willing to roll with it. And other than that, guys, like, yeah, if you want to reach out to me, best place is Instagram. It's literally my name, as you can see it right here. I love to help people. Send me any questions anybody has. I'm always here to help out. So, no, I'm just happy to be here, and yeah, that's it.
Thank you, man. We'll connect more, especially with AI stuff, because I would love to learn more about what you're doing here.
Yeah,
But
let's
yeah,
do it.
we'll put all of Jonah's ways to find him and reach out to him and watch his content into the description of this. If you guys got anything like we did, please like, share, subscribe, comment, hit the bell icon. We drop these episodes every Thursday. I'm not sure when this episode will come out. We banked a bunch of them to make sure we had enough time. But you'll start to see clips of Jonah before we release this. But thank you guys for being a part of this. I appreciate it. Join our free school community that we have too. If you want to learn more about wholesaling, it's called the Wholesale with AI, Wholesaling with AI with Eva school community. So, terrible plug.
It's
One of those.
school.wholetech.ai. It's in
There you go.
the
We'll put that in the description. Our name's gotta be a little easier to say. All right. All right. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Bye.